Welcome to Point Blank on Eyewitness News. My name is Selom Adonu. 24 minutes to the top of the hour tonight on Point Blank. We host a former second national vice chairman of the New Patriotic Party. Sammy Crabbe is his name. He's been around for some time. He served alongside Afoko, Kwamna Japan, and a few others, and even before then. Quite vocal, and he's been proffering some solutions to the party's problems. He's our guest tonight. Hello, good evening, sir. Welcome to Point Blank.
Thank you.
How have you been?
I'm been okay.
And where have you been?
I've been around.
I see. I mean, it's been a while we spoke, really, but it's nice to have you in the studio. The NPP suffered a massive defeat recently, a defeat that many have said is the worst in our fourth Republican dispensation. There was a party that came to power in 2016. I mean, won the 2016 election, came to power 2017 with a lot of goodwill. Where did all the goodwill go to? What happened?
Unfortunately, we squandered it. Yeah.
How did you squander it?
I think, so many reasons though, but I've always said that it all comes down to the fact that we have a very weak party. And when you have a weak party, that cannot call people to order.
Weak party means what?
Meaning that, first of all, the leadership itself. We elect people. Yeah. Once we elect the people, and I'm talking down, but all the way down, from national to polling station.
Is it a recent phenomenon, or it's been the problem?
Oh, it's been a problem. I remember when I was Greater Accra Regional Chairman, I recognized that. I recognized that we had an issue where we would elect people, because you elect people by popular vote. Once you elect the person, you need to work on the person, you need to train the person, you need to bring the person up to speed. The person really understands what the job is. Just like your organization, people are not just hired and left just like that. Training and retraining and other things. So in Greater Accra, we did institute a year-long program, training program with Alajete, Odoi Sykes, and Dr. Roger Cranton from Gimpa. They came in, and every other week, there was a plenary session. In between, we had just 5 officers from the constituency, and they were trained on everything from the constitution, so they understand what the duties were and how they would even relate to MPs, because there were a lot of issues where they just couldn't gel with the MPs, and that would always, we thought, would always threaten our electoral fortune. So we had to train them to learn to live with each other. And there were issues of suspicions and things like that, about money issues. So we also took them through some management training on how to balance budgets and how to do ballots and then keep the account books so that people can easily audit. And that saved a lot of problems. And then also human relations, human resource management, how they do things. So if you elect people and you don't work on them, then they will lack the capacity to drive your agenda. Let me give an example to the current. There were some very beautiful programs that this campaign brought about, like the Go TV, Get Out the Vote. You can't be a political party without a Go TV program. It was amazing. And then Bo TV, and then Sharpshooters. Unfortunately, because they had not worked on the people, the party was so weak that the personnel, the leaders were so weak. The people didn't have the capacity to carry it through. I also West Wuogon, okay? And then the sharpshooter for also West Wuogon came. Honorable Hussein, former also North MP.
And Hussein,
yeah. And then what we're trying to do was to get the people, to just kind of understand. Okankwe North, sorry. So he coming in to help the people understand what this whole sharpshooting exercise was about. And then also carry it through. An amazing...
But what was the sharpshooting about?
Well, sharpshooting was identifying people who they were proud, and then moving them, to go and vote, sort of.
Okay.
So you are sharpshooting and making sure that you get them out. And it's something that every political party does. But unfortunately, the capacity had not been built for that. So even though they said they started a couple of months before that time, they were not even able to get the people to work. And at the last minute, almost last minute, We didn't even have people to do the sharpshooting. We didn't have people to do the Go TV. Even people to go and sit at the polling station was a problem at Ayaso West Ward.
Is it a matter of capacity or it was apathy? They were not happy, there was an issue, so they didn't want to go sacrifice their time and energies for somebody else to come and be a leader and not mind them again. So that is also there. Is that not the case?
That was the case. However, let me loop it back to the weakness of the party. Adidi.
For those who don't know, this man here propounded the Adidi theory. The Adidi theory here almost every time on the Citi Breakfast Show. He was the one in 2009.
Yeah.
2009, we came to the studio and he propounded that theory. That theory, I tell you, has stood the test of time.
Absolutely. It's the Adidi you're talking about.
Yes.
You're summarizing it. And that is true. But if somebody does not believe that whatever the party gains in government will profit him or her, there's no way to wake up in the morning and go sacrifice like they did. So it comes to the same thing. He must believe that there's something in it for him or her. You cannot just keep kicking the can down the road that it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. It's not going to work. And when he sees you going up, some of them were contemporaries actually. Then they get into positions and then they see them, going about in their conditioned vehicles, and then they ask them to wait. They're not going to continue to sacrifice anymore. So it is because the party is weak. Because if the party had adopted, a memorandum of understanding that I also generated in 2007. In 2007, as we were going to the Congress, the 2007 Congress selected Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, I thought Adidi was a big issue and that it threatened the very existence of the party. So what I did was I, first of all, came up with the idea. I got some lawyers to draft it, and then I took the draft, bought a brand new vehicle, and then put some of my officers in that vehicle, fueled the vehicle, had them tour the whole country. Ajay Suwa, who later became a mayor, was one of them. Michael Wadie, who became third national vice chairman, was one of them. My then secretary organizer, Abeta Faglu, also was one of them, and others. They toured the whole country, and then they made sure that they got people to buy in. People were looking at it and suggesting, changes and additions and stuff like that. So all those things they did that, and after they did that, I also took it and went to my regional chairman, my colleague regional chairman, and then I got them all to buy in. And then I went to the National Executive Committee, and I got a buy-in. And then went to the National Council and also got a buy-in. And then I approached the candidates. Some of them easily signed, but then candidates or aspirant Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo initially refused to sign. It's a very interesting story. I'm just mentioning them for you to see.
Why did he refuse to sign? He didn't believe in it.
He saw me, and I was a very small boy, so he did allude to that. So he initially refused to sign. I'm saying this because of how I'm going to end this whole thing. So he refused to sign, and I said no problem. I went with Ahmed. He was then Upper East Regional Chairman, and I went with Afaglu. So I just left. We had a conference in Greater Accra, and I told them, I listed the names of those who had signed and those who had not signed. And I told them that anybody who hadn't signed should be voted against. So I was around Osu when I received a call that I should come to Nana Addo Akufo-Addo's residence. So I went there. When I went there, we had Greater Accra constituency chairman there. I saw them with him. And apparently they are going to tell him that they were his supporters. But if he did not sign that document, they will vote against him.
Up
That's how powerful a party can be. You understand what I mean? So we all came together around the document, up to this National Council. So Nana Akufo-Addo took out his pen and signed.
Wow.
So now some of these guys who are parading and people are seeing them as invincible and powerful, the party being strong at that time brought them all down to their level. So I loop it all the way back to the strength of the party. If you organize the party behind an agenda, and what was the agenda? The agenda was that Nana Addo and Alan Chirematin and the rest signed a pact that if they won, at that time, they won the primaries and went through to become president of Ghana, we were going, a certain percentage of ministers were going to be selected by the party. A certain percentage of ambassadors were going to be selected by the party. In fact, all DCEs, MCEs, MMDCEs were going to be nominated by the party, the constituencies or the districts, and then he would use the executive power that we got for him to appoint them. It's a very simple pact. without us, you couldn't be president. And the whole thing was that if
so when he became president, he assigned that part.
Well, he didn't become president at the time.
Okay. So the subsequent ones, that MOU didn't come up again.
And that's the issue.
Okay.
So beyond that, I said, look, why don't we take this MOU and put it in the constitution? So that I won't have to be there. Anyone who comes through will sign. But some of the people who were fighting against the MOU then thought, okay, now it's our turn. So they made sure it didn't go into the constitution. If it had, we will not probably be in the position we had, because there will be no Adidi. Everybody will be rest assured that there will be inclusivity, even if you don't support a candidate. Because you're a chairman, because you have your quota, because you are an executive, you are a secretary, whatever. When you are generating people, nobody is going to ask whether you supported Alan or you supported Nana or you supported Bawumia or you did not support anyone. It is by virtue of your office. So you are also bringing up names. So everybody is going to work knowing that at the end of the day, they will be participating in at least the selection. You know what I mean, of people to support the government. Because at the end of the day, when government officers go and mess up, it affects the brand, as we have now. So I will always loop back. Yes, it's a Adidi, but it's because of the weakness of the party. So once upon a time, when the party was very strong, who people see as invisible and giants, and I was smaller than I am now. Even in age, I was much younger. But it wasn't me they were seeing. They were seeing the force of the party behind that document. So when the party is united and the executives are strong, because that document, the party instructed, okay, that all the regional chairmen signed. So I signed first. And then the other regional chairman, with the exception of Chairman Mankwai, was in America, Ashanti regional chairman at the time. All the other regional chairmen signed. And so, like Nanado Zone, he signed, and then I think his cousin Hilary Ajima also countersigned at the end of the day. So when you look at the document, you see regional chairman, the National Executive Committee, National Council have come together. We don't care who you are, what you're going to be. Without us, you can't be there. If the polling station executives, the council executives can be trusted to select you through the primary process to become president, how can you tell them that you can't consult them for them to help you select ministers? Who is bigger? So that's how I'll loop it back to a weak party.
I see. So we're speaking to Sammy Crabbe. He's a former second national vice chairman of the NPP. He's been, discussing with us some of the things he thinks led to the loss of the party in the just ended election. He thinks that the major thing is that the party was weak, and maybe the party is weak. That's what we've been discussing. Yes, talking about the weakness of the party and the elections, your party has constituted a team, the Professor Michael Quay Committee, to go around the country or to collate views from people about what led to the loss of the party. The party's loss at the polls. These are interesting ideas you are proffering. Have you met a group yet? Have they called you? Have you called them? I don't know what the modalities are. Are you planning to meet a group to talk to them on some of these things?
Oh, yeah. If I get the opportunity, definitely I will. But these are things
they've put out an email address so that if you have things to
so I can shoot it to them. No problem at all. These are things that have been circulating. These are things that are known to the chairman himself, Okwe, because I remember we had an interaction. And he himself actually signed on to the MOU.
I see.
As an aspirant, yes. He signed on to the MOU at the time. So they are very much aware about these things. And these things are existential threats. If people believe that there's something in it for them, if people believe that there's going to be diversity, equality, and inclusivity it has to be systemic. Not somebody telling you that I'll give you a post when I become president. No. It must be systemic. It must be in there. And it is enforceable. You know what I mean? And when you do that, you wouldn't have a problem at all. Let me give you a very interesting example as well. This Adidi. And you see, I use the word existential. In this election, one of the constituencies that I was supporting, helping, and assigned to was Ashaiman. Can you believe that on the day of the election, 7 a.m., about half of the polling stations, we didn't have polling agents?
Wow. How?
We didn't.
You didn't turn up, or you didn't appoint?
They wouldn't do it. So even though we were giving them stipends, they refused.
Wow.
That's Adidi. When people get to a point where they don't believe that whatever gains that accrues to the party will help them also solve their basic needs, they will stop working. This is Business 101
Wow.
or HR 101. If you have an organization, a company, you hire people, and you do not design a very solid reward or compensation system, they will start stealing from you. They will start undermining your company. Those who will stay, but others will leave.
Is that what you call the duty of care system?
Absolutely,
the
yes.
duty of care system, and the reasons you have given are the reasons that you think you make up, or the reasons why this system is absent. I see. So the party is seeking to rebuild. They want to come back, or you guys want to come back in 2028. How should the rebuilding phase be? And do you think that 2028 is a realistic, how do I say? It's a realistic ambition to have to come back to power?
Oh, absolutely.
Given the size of the defeat and what Ghanaians are saying.
Yes, but if you do my initial analysis tells me that President Mahama did not appreciate that much. Okay, and then you could see that our people also stayed away.
But it's been the case for every incumbent that loses power. In 2016, we said NDC people didn't come out to vote. In 2008, we said the NPP people didn't come out to vote. It's the case for every incumbent that loses the elections.
Yeah, and he said, you see, if you look at the NDC, at the time they were in trouble, there were a lot of people who thought that they had left them out. E.T. Mensah, all of those guys. So they didn't see what they would get out of it. So they also went out there.
But should it always be what you personally get out of it, or it's about, a passion for your country and thinking that your group is the best to lead the country? Should it be about what you will get personally?
Yeah.
Is that not problematic?
No, it's always so. The first law of nature is self-preservation. I mean, it's always so. It's always with everyone. People hide it. Some of those people who will tell you that you don't worry, yours is down the line. If their posts are taken away from them today, you see them. Those are organizing people against the president. So that is what it is. Let's accept that. Nobody works for free. Nobody works at GTV and goes to collect his pay at Citi. Where you work is where you get your pay. We need to design systems so that we can reward our people. I'm not advocating that we steal Ghana's money to reward our people. No, never. I am saying that the political parties in themselves can be re-engineered.
How would they raise money? How would they be re-engineered to raise money?
Yeah,
from contractors? How will it happen?
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I've advocated this all the time. First of all, we have a brand. NPP. NPP can inspire people to even do terrible things. The brand is solid. And that's what any business person, any marketing person will seek to do. It's all about the brand. So you have a brand. So like 90% of the matter is solved. Let me give an example, something that I've been advocating over the years. I said, okay, for example, let's set up an insurance company, not a bank. Because as for bank, when you save your money today, 10 years, 20 years, you can always come back. But with an insurance company, when you pay the premium, at the end of the year, when it expires, that's it. So I'm talking about insurance company. So you have found money, and I've been advocating this. So use your brand. Okay. We set up an insurance company, and just take motor alone. And by law, you will have to buy insurance, right? So that's not the question. The question is which insurance company you want to purchase your insurance from. So if I'm an NPP guy and I have a vehicle, and especially since my insurance is with SIC, they don't even pay the claims, I will give it to NPP, more likely than not. And by the way, the NPP insurance company is going to be set up and run properly, professionally. Okay, I will give it to them. We will have the greatest workforce, marketing force any insurance company can ever dream of, because we have people all the way to polling stations. If somebody has a vehicle, a motorcycle, parked somewhere in Paga, in some corner somewhere, we have people who can go and find them, bring them on, okay, and have them insure with us, because in the process, they will be making money. They are insurance brokers. They are insurance agents. You've created work for each and one of them. We also have a network of offices in every constituency, every district in this country. So there you go. You have your insurance offices. You understand what I mean? So, and then look at the premium. Say half of the money. Let's even say 400 on the average is paid. Okay, and you have about 1 million people, it's 400 million. And then divided by 200 because claims will come. And then you have about 500. You have, so if you have 400, and then you have 1 million, 400,
These
200 million.
These are bright ideas. But you were in office as second national vice chair. Why didn't you suggest it? Or these ideas didn't come at the time?
Oh, these ideas have been floating. I've been floating these ideas.
And so why couldn't you inspire your colleagues in the national executive to buy into this?
I would say that we were on the verge of touching on these things when that suspension thing came.
Okay, great. So that leads me to, so you were suspended, you had issues with the party, the alleged misconduct against you, etc. What has become of that?
Oh, well, according to them, they have suspended me from office. So once my term expired, you couldn't suspend me for an office that I did not hold. You understand? Even though it was indefinite, it was definite to the point where I was no more an officer.
Is that the position of the party, or that's your interpretation of it?
No, I mean, it is the position of the party, because at the end of the day, I was allowed to contest again the last one.
Okay.
So there's no suspension.
So talking about contest, you have expressed interest in contesting the party's, chairmanship.
Yeah.
How far with that? I mean, what's the plan? Indeed, the National Council of Elders Chairman Hakwanusa Jumanis issued a statement saying that all of you should focus on rebuilding the party, and people should desist from campaigning. A number of people are campaigning for various positions. Chairman of National Council is so worried about that. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, it was advisory in nature, so I want to thank him. But I think I should be able to express myself to say that.
But if it's a collective and this is what we all want to do, let's all focus and do this, so that if the horse is strong and healthy, then whoever becomes a jockey will do well. I mean, the party should be stronger. Campaigning right now may bring division and things.
But I'm not campaigning. I have expressed an interest. I said, come 2026, I will want to run as national chairman. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not campaigning. I have not gone out there talking to executives. I have not done that. People can express that. There are people who are expressing their desire to contest the next primaries. So it's advisory in nature. Thank you very much. But I don't think that I should be gagged from expressing an interest in contesting when the polls are open. Finally,
the loss at the polls. Many people think that it was a referendum on Akufo-Addo's record and leadership style, governance, etc. Others also think that it's because you didn't have a good candidate and a good running mate. Where do you stand?
Well, I don't know. I haven't done any research to know whether it was a referendum on anyone's conduct or the candidate. But what I know is that if indeed it really was, then it was because the party was weak. If the party was strong, the party would have controlled government. Government would not have been able to do some of the things that people are saying that caused them to vote against government. Because there will be a very strong government-party relationship. And then government can be checked.
But government talks about the fact that it had difficulties. There were global issues. COVID hit the whole world. I mean, there was RU war. I'm not sure what the party could have done about those things.
Well, basically, you see, I don't think it is about what necessarily happens. It's about the way you conduct yourself, you communicate things to people. So if you hold yourself out in such a manner, that people perceive that you are chopping money whilst you are talking COVID, then it doesn't matter what you say or what the statistics show. It is what they feel. Because corruption is a perception. It's not a reality. When you hold yourself out in such a manner that they perceive that you are Adidi and enjoying them, they're going to react. You see, I will loop it all the way back to a weak party. If we strengthen the party can hold its government accountable, can check the government. But if you don't, then you have a situation where the party nominates somebody, works for the person becomes president, the person and his family make all the decisions. The party is afraid of the person because the party is so weak, you're afraid that you not get a position. If you have a position, they'll take it from you.
People have said that when your party is in office, in power, the president is the leader of the party.
No, that's not true.
Well, that's not the case?
No, that's the NDC constitution. That's why I say a lot of people don't know our constitution very well. In our constitution, the national chairman is the leader of the party at all times. At all times. Now with the NDC,
the president is the leader of the party.
So when Mama is not the leader of the party, but that is not so with our constitution. But at the point in time when certain people wanted to take advantage of the party, they came up with all these kind of things, and then somehow the public swallowed it, and that was to diminish the power of the national chairman, so they could just flip him off.
I see.
And that's so it is not true at all. Because if it was so, those arguments, when Nana Addo became president, he would not have attempted to amend the constitution to make him the leader. If it was so, President Kufuor would not also have attempted in Cape Coast to also amend the constitution to make it leader.
Oh, I see.
Our constitution doesn't say that. No, it's not true.
I see. So, I mean, very finally, before you go, give me your view on the new government. I mean, things they've been doing so far.
Oh, it's early days.
Very early days, but so far.
So far, I mean, I've been looking closely at the nominees. I've been looking closely, and I'm kind of like impressed with the quality of people who are coming. I don't know them personally, but I'm just looking at the CVs. I'm looking at what they're trying to do, the experience. I'm realizing that maybe he's benefiting from his first term, so he's making certain appointments. But the sweetness is in
the sweetness is in the eating.
Thank you very much. So when we get there, then we'll know whether or not these people have been effective. But so far, when I look at the people who are being brought forth, I think that they on paper, yeah, they look like quality people. Like he's carefully selecting certain people with experience and their backgrounds, and then that's fine. And so we'll see. Early days yet.
Very well. So that was the former second national vice chair of the NPP. His name is Sammy Crabbe. He has expressed interest in